VIX also has fallen to pre-COVID levels. That is something to watch out for. Stocks, IRCTC, a lot of unlocked trades are actually coming back. Last few days we saw EaseMyTrips of the world. Now IRCT, even the train bookings are actually opening up very sharply. Broader markets are clearly in a high right now, and VIX has also come down. Srinivas Rao is joining us now to talk more about markets and investing. Srinivas, thank you so much for your time. Let's start by understanding, at your fund house, what's the framework you're adopting right now to play this cycle? Are you in a capex kind of a heavy tilt? Do you think economy facing sector will actually start doing well, or more of global recovery theme? If you could talk about your broad hypothesis before we talk about specifics and sectors.
Sure. Thank you and good afternoon, Ajay. Ajay, we at PGIM have an investment philosophy or follow investment philosophy called GAR, which is growth at reasonable price. So this is our style. Investing in equities is all about investing for growth. So that is where we have to look for companies that are growing. But also it is very, very important to know what is the price you are paying for the growth that is there. So this is our style. Coming to your specific point on what is that we are following. So broadly, we like four themes, I would say. The first and foremost theme is the digitization. Whether it is the IT, internet, I think we will see an increased spend on the IT sector, and the companies that are engaged in this business will do well, whether it is the software companies or internet companies, whether it is a global opportunity or Indian opportunity. The second theme that we like is healthcare. So here, broadly, there are two trends. One is we Indians are going to live longer than what used to be in the past, which in turn means we will actually spend more on healthcare. And the second driver is export opportunity. We all know that Indian companies have now fairly reasonable market share in US and few other markets. So I think that opportunity will continue to grow. And I think this pandemic also clearly proved that Indian companies can address this market. So that's the second. The third thing that we like is, I would say, the financialization. So even today in India, let's say there are only 4 crore credit cards versus let's say 75 crore debit cards. So I think there is a long way to go on the credit penetration in the country. The fourth theme that we are playing is consumption. I think this is a theme that we are playing across our global funds also. Jennison, which is our sister concern, is betting a lot that in India and Asia, middle class will continue to grow a lot in the coming months and years. And whatever sectors catering to this sector will continue to do well. It's essentially on the discretionary side. So these are the 4 themes that we like. Coming to capex and related, I think this is more of an opportunistic. I think after almost 10 years, we are clearly seeing some revival in the capex spending in the country, and we are positive on this space as well. But I would say this is more of an opportunistic play that we are doing. Yeah, I hope I've answered your query.
Let's talk about the internet part of Let's talk about the internet part of the story for once, not the traditional ones, though traditional mid-cap and the large-cap IT companies also got re-rated because of COVID-related thrust and their own margin expansion and growth revival. But there's another way to play IT is consumer tech, fintech, be it angel broking, EaseMyTrips of the world, where technology is actually catapulting the growth or transforming the growth of the company. Similar, a lot of IPOs are lined up like Nykaa, Policybazaar, Zomatos of the world, where technology is actually changing the way consumer offering is being made. How are you analyzing this part, or even platforms like BSE, the exchange, CDSLs of the world? No reaction on the stock price of or any company, but how are you addressing this theme?
Ajay, I think this is a very good question in terms of the emerging trends that we are seeing. I mean, this is not happening in India alone. This is what is happening globally. There are quite a few new companies, new business that are emerging out of this merger of technology and financial services or consumer. We are seeing, I think, very early stages of this getting replicated in India. I think even today, Ajay, as you know, we are a mutual fund, so we invest only in listed companies. So I think there are very few opportunities in the listed space in this category. So we are playing through one, two names in this space. Also, as you would know, I think last few years there has been a very strong rally on this fintech or internet companies. So valuations on a traditional metrics like price to earning, price to book appear very, very expensive. So that's another reason why we are playing this thing very, very selectively and cautiously.
Right. Okay, let's talk about healthcare then. Healthcare, again, got a big boost. The entire hospital space got booked out, strong numbers. It was very unfortunate due to COVID. The business got a boost, but it did. And it re-rated the hospital and diagnostic space after a very long time. They've been listed long. Some of the pharma companies seem to have resolved their regulatory issues. Some API pharma is getting rediscovered the way China Plus One is actually happening. And then there is good growth at the domestic pharma plays. How are you really addressing, and which is the most attractive opportunity in the entire healthcare space in your view?
So Ajay, I think that's what I've also alluded to. There are two clear opportunities. One is the domestic market opportunity. Second is exports. Indian pharma companies over the last, I would say, like 5-6 years have clearly invested in expanding both their capacities and capabilities. And as a result of that, we are seeing today lesser issues on regulatory, but I don't think, this can be taken for granted. We need to continue to invest. I mean, pharma companies continue to invest to ensure that they meet all the norms. So I'm bullish on companies that are catering to domestic market with the secular therapies rather than acute. And international markets, we are looking more at companies that have catering to global clients and also like companies that are trying to actually build their own distribution network. So many companies have made significant inroads in this. So if you look at our portfolio for almost 18 months or so, we've been overweight on pharma, and I think that is one of the key driver for our very strong performance in the last 18 months or so. And we remain positive on pharma.
Srinivas, if one really looks at the way power stocks have been buzzing last couple of days, talking about Tata Power, where the renewable story is getting, actually it's changing. Earlier it was the InvIT and now perhaps the IPO, JSW Energy, a lot of other power ancillary companies. How are you analyzing this power space? Because it's quite cyclical and it really is kind of coming back on radar after a very long gap. Any thoughts?
Yeah, actually the business is not cyclical at all. Power consumption has been growing steadily for many years. As the per capita income goes up, we all will consume much more than what we are consuming today in terms of electricity. And companies that are catering to this should do well. Ajay, we had this trend, I think way back in 2006-07 is when these were hot sector, power was a hot sector. As a result, we have seen, I would say, excessive investments into sector, as everybody thought that one can make tons of money in power business, but in reality, given that it is a regulated business, it is not so easy to make so much money, and that is what we have realized. In addition to that, in the last 2-3 years, especially, there is a clear concern on this traditional or coal-based power plants. What is the future? We are seeing many international funds clearly saying no to coal-based power plants, and they are actively campaigning to see that banks don't fund coal-based power plant globally. So we have not seen this in India, but there is this overhang of investing in a coal-based power plants, and that is what has led to a sector getting massively derated in the last 5-7 years. Whereas now, I think in the last few months, as you rightly mentioned, there is a clear revival of interest. First of all, Ajay, these companies have a clear contracts with their customers which will last for next 10, 15, 20 years in terms of PPAs. And second, if you see the business model and their valuations, they are trading at 4 to 5% dividend yield. Today on FD, when you are making a 3.5%, 4% return, and here you have a upside from equity and also dividend yield of 4-5%. So they are clearly in a compelling zone in terms of valuation. And the third is in the last few months again globally we have seen rally in value stocks versus growth stocks. Same thing getting reflected in India, and that's why we are seeing a rally. I think selectively there is a definite case for investment into some of these companies where you are sure about the business model, that is sustainability of business and the valuation that you are paying.
Right. Let's talk about broader markets where the excitement is right now. Sharp outperformance coming in already. When you talk to managements out there or look at the numbers or projections which are being made and rework them to suit your assessment, do you see that the earnings momentum in the wider market has more leg room? Is there visibility of 1 to 2 years from here on?
Sure, Ajay. I think let's look at what has happened in the fourth quarter. We have seen quite a few companies delivering results, but it will go on till this month end. But let's say in the main Nifty 50, 46 companies have declared result, and they have reported a net profit growth of 60%. So which is a very strong growth. And the commentary from these companies suggests, though April, May has been weak, overall they are extremely positive on outlook for the full year FY22. If you see the consensus estimates for FY22 EPS estimates, EPS growth, we are at about 35% earnings growth for the current year, which is very, very strong. Given the fact that April, May have been almost washed out for many companies, many sectors, given the lockdown, I think we will see some downward revision to these numbers, but still I think overall earnings growth would be very, very healthy. Please remember, this lockdown is essentially aimed at restricting the movement of people, but restricting economic activity has been very minimal versus what we saw in the previous lockdown. So I think overall broader markets economy will continue to do well. I think this is also unfortunate reality that larger companies, stronger companies are benefiting at the cost of smaller players. Whether in terms of availability of capital or whether in terms of having better systems to deal with this kind of a lockdown in terms of managing their raw material, supply chain, logistics, etc. So, Ajay, the market consists of listed players. These companies are relatively better in terms of their balance sheets and are doing better than the overall economy. And I think that trend will continue, and that's where when there is economic growth and there is earnings growth, markets will continue to do well, and liquidity is definitely aiding in this. So overall, we remain positive on market, including markets doing well, broader market, not just the large caps.
Right. Very quickly, just wanted to understand from you what kind of risks are you seeing at the horizon, especially globally. Do you think this time too, because it is so well understood, the taper risks, do you think we can, in the emerging market in India, are prone to same kind of violent downside cuts? Or do you think this time we are more conditioned to take taper tantrum whenever it occurs going out? Because if we actually were buyers, retail investors were buyers even in COVID, first wave cut down and then the second wave, do you think they will be able to take taper tantrum too in its stride when it happens, or that is a big risk?
Ajay, I think it is extremely difficult to predict short-term movements, and when we see, let's say, a very strong sell-out from FIIs, I'm sure we will see a reasonable correction in markets. retail investors tend to follow broader or more of herd mentality. So when you see markets going down, we will see people panicking and selling rather than buying. So if there is a broader sellout from FIs, I'm sure we will see a correction in the market. So I think that is one risk, whether it is led by rising in interest rates in US or inflation, that we need to live with. I don't think we can do away with that. In addition to that, I think let's look at the risk in India itself. I think the WPI number for April was 10.5%. Though RBI and central government are clearly aligned to see that we are in a low interest regime, which is beneficial to government and to the businesses. But it is important to contain inflation, otherwise we will see interest rates going up. So that's one risk. Similarly, we are dependent on crude to a significant way. So the moment crude goes up, we will have both pressure on rupee and also inflation passing on to the broader markets in the economy. And Ajay, also we should remember the second wave actually has a much bigger impact on demand than the first wave. As we mentioned in the initial part, the hospitalization costs have been fairly significant for people who've been tested positive. So to that extent, I would say demand has been curtailed or destroyed in the near term, and we will see slower growth in some parts of the economy. In the last week, we saw an NBFC giving a guidance about increasing cost. So I think it is not fair to assume that everything is rosy. It is easy to think that way when markets have behaved the way they have behaved in the last 7-8 months. But it is never this easy to make money in markets. So to that extent, one has to be cautious, and investing in equities comes with its own risk and volatility, and that needs to be kept in mind while investing into equities. Ajay.
Right. All right, Srinivas. Clearly, thanks very much for your time today, and of course, that kind of a warning which people should keep in mind while taking the equities route. Time for a very short break. More news and analysis on the other side. Don't go anywhere.